Good afternoon, my brothers and sisters. And of course, if I go by protocol, I must say good afternoon, Chairman. By the way, I always tell people I have only one chairman, and that's Mr. Gerard Yee. Presidents, Provost, COC, Charity Councils, my colleagues from SUSS, and more importantly, my brothers and sisters. In case you wonder where I am, I'm now in SUSS. Right? Now, the topic of my sharing with you this afternoon is social entrepreneurship, but more importantly, it's about ESG for charity. My brothers and sisters, we in the charities are known for doing good. But doing good alone is not enough. We need to do it right. And embracing ESG is one way among many ways to do right. This afternoon, I will share with you the 5 W's of ESG for charities. The why, the what, the how, the who, and the when. Let me start with the why. How many of y'all in this room touch your heart, embrace ESG in your charity? Put up the hand. Hey, brother, you put or you don't put? Don't put, okay. I'm not surprised. We did a short studies, a small sample studies, very consistent with what we have here. We in the charity sectors don't practice ESG. Why, you may ask? There are 3 reasons I put it to you. One is that there is a perception that ESG is expensive. Solar panel, decarbonization devices cost money. Second is there is a thinking that if you do a lot of ESG, no one say very good. ESG only come to affect you when you do something wrong. For example, pouring oil into the drain. Don't try to do that. Huh? You pour oil into the drain, PUB will come after you. Because you know why? Today is no longer a drain, it's our what? Drinking water. And third, there's a perception that our volunteers, our donor, our community don't really care that much for the charities. They care a lot for the corporates, but not that much for the charities. My brothers and sisters, I want to tell you in no uncertain terms, and that is people care for ESG. First, your stakeholder care. Your volunteers, your donors. If you are charities that are not responsible in terms of, for example, environment, and they are aware of it, they won't give you money. They don't volunteer hours. Another group of people care is the government, or I call them the regulator. Regulator have the slews of incentive and disincentive to nudge you to embrace ESG. And lastly, I tell you, my brother and sister, the community care. Today, ESG is a norm. I.e., if you comply with ESG, you are normal. If you don't comply with ESG, you are not normal. It's already a norm. What is ESG? Well, I tell you all will agree, there are many definitions of ESG, by the way. By the way, ESG stands for environment, social, governance. Everybody know about that. But there are many versions. My brother and sister, in Singapore, we embrace 2 philosophies that guide us in our ESG. One is the Singapore Green Plan 2030. Second is the Charity Council Code of Governance. right? Now, we in charity has been practicing ESG for a long time. For example, in the area of environment, we do have charity that champion particular niche area, championing, for example, clean water, championing, for example, trees, protection of trees, protection of animals, and even what? Carbon and climates. So we are there. Our charities have niche interests. Second, in the area of social, we are the king. Because it's the charity that are built to leave no one behind. We help the young, the not so young, and the young at heart. People like me, young at heart. And third, in terms of governance, many of you are IPCs. You know that your IPC renewal is subject to what? Your compliance with the Charity Code of Governance. On top of that, if you are a company or a society, you have the Company Act or Society Act. So actually, you think about it, brother and sister, in terms of ESG, we in the charity sector, not bad. But the issue is not whether not bad. The issue is, can we do better? When I was in people associations, we developed a words of doing better. Doing better, betterer, betterers. Hey, don't Google, you can never find the words. Don't try. We invented it. But you know what I mean, right? It's a spirit of doing better. I think we can do better in ESG in the charity sectors. First, I think I jumped the slide a bit. First is in the area of environment. My brothers and sisters, while we have charities that are doing niche in environment, but they need to go beyond their niche. They cannot just only protect trees, but don't protect the environment. And for all of us in charity, we must be eco-friendly. And in the area of governance, yes, we leave no one behind. But the question to you is, can we do even better? Have better impact? Chairman spoke about impact. I give you an example of impact. I visited SPD. And I asked SPD, what is your mission and purpose? I thought they will reply to me, mission and purpose is to help people who are disadvantaged. In this case, disabled. No, but they say, no, that's not the mission. Do you know what's their mission? Their mission is not to help them, but their mission is to empower them. And do you know what's their KPIs? The KPI is not about the number of people they help, but the number of disabled people that they get them a job. Brother and sister, this is called impact. And on top of that, we need to shift beyond impact to inclusivity, to diversity. In the area of governance, this morning we have a very interesting discussion. Yes, we may have code of conduct, we may have rules, we may have laws, but at the end of the day, it's about what? It's about what do you sincerely believe in? It's about a shift from leadership to stewardship. It's about a shift from rules to ethics. We need to be whiter than white in the charity sectors, because unlike others, we are acting on behalf of people. Do you know that we are trustees? Heavy responsibilities. So how do we embrace ESG? I'd like to share with you, I did a research, I'd like to share with you a simple framework for you to do ESG in charities. First thing first, know what is important. And then build what is important into the plan. And then execute the plan. And then have a proper governance for the plan. And then after that, what? Unlock the value of the outcome. Let me share with you in details. First, my brother and sister, don't after this talk go back and start to do ESG, do all the ESG. Brother and sisters, not all ESG are important. Some are more important than the other. You must know what is important as far as your stakeholder is concerned. Good example. If you are the youth charity, you embrace ESG because you know that our youth today built into their DNA is already ESG. They believe it as a cause. So you do ESG to expand your recruitment. But not only that. For example, if you are a youth charity helping senior citizens for mental health, this is where you can then ask, you know, mental health, we make use of art therapy. Question is, do you buy the material or you use recycled material? Better still, after the art therapy, what happened to the art pieces? Do you know that you can sell the art pieces? Many people will buy. They buy not because it's an art pieces, because it's a value. It's from the heart. See? This is where you identify what is important and then to the stakeholder and then build into your activities. Next is to plan ESG. Brother and sister, if you are the big charity, go ahead. Adopt this very difficult, very complex way. This is called the balanced scorecard. Big charity, go ahead. Small charity, don't try. Too complicated. All right? For us in a small charity, I'd like to share with you two other frameworks. I think it's easy to understand. First framework is called the 4R framework. Refuse, reduce, reuse, recycle. I know you are familiar with the 3R. I just add another R. I always believe, why create waste where you can refuse it at the first stage? So I call it the 4R. And to illustrate this point, one day, I was sitting in a conference. My sister, by the way, sister is there. Sister is the Temasek conference. I was sitting beside Madam. Then Madam asked me a question. You know, we have been talking about ESG. We've been talking about Singapore Green Plan. How can we bring this to the Papa Mama shop, to your community shops? Wow, I scratched my head. This is a test question. How can we bring decarbonizations to the Papa Mama shops? And then after try to give some intelligent answer, she shared with me something which I want to share with you all. And that is this. Actually, it's very simple. You approach the Papa Mama shops and tell them that set a target for themselves. Maybe 6 months, I will reduce my electricity by 10%, another 6 months by 20%. That's all. Very simple. Because why? Electricity bill is not monitored by you. It's monitored by Singapore Power. Number 2, you save 10% means what? You save money. Number 3, you no need to understand the word decarbonization. What are words? Why? Because saving electricity actually contributed to decarbonization. And I hope this story tells you that indeed we can keep our ESG effort very simple. Next is the next strategy I would like to share with you is called the circular strategies. You know, I like bread run, food rescue. They make sure why all this bread that is still edible landed in the landfill. You know what do? They collected the bread and then they distribute to people who are in need. My brother and sister, today, cost of living is very high. People need help. And yet, we throw away good waste. What does this example tell you? This example tells you we can turn many of the things we think are not useful into something very useful. This, my brother and sister, is an example of a circular economy. How do we hard code ESG into our work process. The consultant will tell you, build ESG into your people process structure. Big words. We in the charity no need these big words. All you need to do is make sure ESG appear in your SOP. Brothers and sisters, today we are now in endemic, That's why many of you are not wearing masks. Right? Endemic means what? We can organize big event activities. I'm sure you have a SOP for big event activities. All you need to do in the SOP state, number one, when you circulate the events, try to do in the E-way. Number two, during the events, try to use recyclable materials. Not water bottle, plastic water bottle. Look around. Number three, all the waste that you have after the event, you recycle the event. Number four, after the event, switch off the electricity. You'll be surprised. We don't do that. This is how simple you can encode ESG into your SOPs. As regard to governance, I'm very happy. Chairman is here. I'm very happy. I read with great interest the draft that has been floated to you all, the draft code of governance. And inside there, principle number 3, right at the bottom, which I've highlighted for you, is said, I read, the charity is aware of the importance of the risk factor and the issue of environment, social, and governance, ESG, and conduct itself responsibly. So I think what is important is you should now give comments to the Charity Council to clarify what is the meaning of these statements. It's important because this will then become our governing structure in terms of ESG. Finally, my brother and sister, ESG, we can turn ESG to many benefits. We must know how to unlock the value of ESG. You can unlock the value of ESG by what? By able to tell your stories, your ESG stories. You can, for example, tell people what you have done, and that will inspire other people to follow you. Or you can, something which I intend to bring to the chairman of the council, Charity Council. You know, every year, chairman talk about what? Talk about, please apply for the Charity Governance Award. Remember not? It's in it, must apply. You cannot apply, cannot walk out of the room. My wish to chairman is, perhaps, can we consider a special category for ESG? So you got Charity Governance Award, bracket, special, dash, ESG. Award is important. But I don't think you all do it for awards. But you do it because we can spotlight on you. We do it because people will know you can inspire other people. You do it because after winning the award, you can share the best practices with others. My brother and sister, who is involved in ESG? Cannot be only charity, you know. Your ESG strategy must also involve your donor, your volunteers, but also your beneficiaries. And must involve the national body if you belong to a national body. But there's one group of people I want you to highlight, and that is what? The corporates. The corporates are ahead of us in the ESG. We want to tap on the expertise of the corporate, we call the skill-based volunteerism, so that we in the charity can do ESG cheap, good, and fast. Cheap is important for us. When to do ESG? When? Now. 2019, Tauke PM in his national rally show this picture. Can you remember or not? Hey, sister, how can you don't remember? I refresh your memory. He showed this picture. 15% of Singapore are in danger because of climate change. These few days, do you know that in Europe, in London, you know what is the temperature? 40 degrees centigrade. Hey, London, as hot as Sahara. And do you know what happened to the ice caps? The ice cap, by the way, is melting. And you know what happened? The world is spinning. When the thing is spinning, through centrifugal force, law of physics, do you know where all the water go to or not? Go to the center. Do you know what's the center? The center is known as equator. Brother and sister, Singapore sit in the equator. Hey, you don't play, Don't play, you know. Therefore, and that's why PM use very strong terms. Must bend at the knee to safeguard the existence of our island nation. What is important to PM must be important to you and me, right? Don't take it for granted. There are 3 things we can do immediately, brother and sister, you and me. Number 1, go back to school. We in SUSS, which advertisement for my boss, we in SUSS will provide you with the skill, knowledge, and attitude. We are able to do it cheap, good, and fast. Do you know why not? Because many of these programs will be put into what I call UniLearn. If you like, it's like your YouTube learning. We built the program once, we can use many times. That's why we are able to share with you cheap, good, and fast. Number 2, we really want to discuss with Chairman. Chairman talk about shared services. There's yet another shared services we must consider to build, and that's the ESG shared services. After you got the knowledge from SUSS, it's not enough. Somebody must hold your hand so that you can then implement ESG in your organization, in the charity. We have to form shared services. Again, shared services is a good idea because you build once, you use many times. And third, brother and sister, if you ever tell me money not enough for ESG, I will be very angry. Brother and sister, guess what? There's plenty of money. For a start, do you know that if you upgrade, depends whether you call upgrade or downgrade, your electricity appliances from 1 tick to 2 tick to 3 tick to even better, do you know that there's this what called climate friendly fund that you can claim? Number 2, do you know that MSE has the eco fund that you can claim? Number 3, do you know that when you come to school or build all your capability on ESG, you can claim until capability building fund? I give you another lobang. I spoke to a number of private foundations. These are private donors. They are most happy to work with charities that are prepared to go into the ESG journey. So don't tell me not enough money. My brothers and sisters, we are in the charities. We are known to be doing good. But doing good alone is not enough. We need to do right. Embracing ESG is about doing right. Thank you.